Dude, that's sick.
Welcome back to the 3800 Daily. We made it to North Carolina. So this is our first North Carolina video. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to change a passenger side axle and the symptoms of a bad passenger side axle. Normally with a bad axle in general, just the CV joints that tend to go bad. Normally the aftermarket ones, you'll get a little bit of play and a little tiny pop and cracks and stuff when you're moving while turning the steering wheel or just going from, reverse to drive. Are typical symptoms of a bad CV joint in your axle. Then we're going to swap the aftermarket one out for the OEM one. I put the aftermarket one in there just to diagnose to see, because I had some popping in the past that I was trying to figure out. It turns out that's not what it was. So I'm going to put the OEM one back in. The aftermarket one it went bad on me real quick. So let's get into it. All right, so first thing first, let's get the wheel off. Now we need to get the rotor off by taking the caliper off first. It's going to be a 15 to get this bolt off. This would be a great time to change your brake pads, but ours are in pretty good condition, so we're going to leave them as is. Next, let's get the mounting bracket off. They're going to be on the back, right here and right here. I believe those are 15s as well. Now you don't have to take the rotor off, but it's going to make this hub a hell of a lot lighter to be able to lift up and down to be able to get that axle out. So it's a good idea to do so. Next, we need to get the hub bolt off, or axle bolt, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to need to go to Harbor Freight or order it online or whatever. I believe it's like 40 bucks. It's your front wheel drive axle lock nut socket set. So these are going to come with the bigger sockets for your impact drill to be able to get this off. I do believe it is a 34 millimeter. It's a little loose. Just try the 32. 32 doesn't fit. We're gonna go 34. If you have a 33, it might be a little snug. It might fit a little better. But I have gotten this off before with a 34, and from the looks at it, it's not rounded off. So it should do just nicely. However, I am using a Hercules brushless impact drill, wrench, whatever. 200 bucks at Harbor Freight. It's about 1,200 foot-pounds of torque. Does the job. So now that we got that nut off, down here, connected to your lower ball joint on the top, there's going to be a king nut or a crown nut. You need to get the pin out, and once you pull the pin out, you'll be able to take that nut off. Here's a little bit better shot for you. Take that pin out of it, and then a nut should come right off. With a little bit of elbow grease. I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose vice grips. Ha, got it. I hate these things. They're always so hard to get out. I'm going to try and replace it with the newer one. That ground nut, I believe, is going to be an 18. Yeah. Did I mention I hate these nuts? Ugh, I hate these things. I need to get me a bigger set of ratcheted wrenches. Ah, got it. There it is. That's a crown nut. Now we need to get this ball joint out. Or I guess, right here. Sorry, it's a little blurry. Get it out. And as every mechanic knows, the best way of doing that is whacking it with a hammer. So let's go get our hammer. Alright, after whacking this loose, there's a little hole right here in your lower control arm. You can stick a pry bar in there, like that, and push down, and this ball joint will come right out. See, there you go, it's up. I put a jack pressed up right here underneath my, I don't know why I keep forgetting what this is called, but it'll help keep your hub up so you can push your lower control arm down. Kind of helps out a little bit. And then you just pull your hub out of the way. Axle comes right out of the hub, that is. Next, we got to get it out of the transmission, and that's the hard part. There's two ways you can do it. One is you can have an axle remover. It's like a 5-pound sliding hammer that has hooks that hook on to the axle like that, but on that end. And it's a 5-pound sliding hammer, and it'll knock it out. Second, let's pretend this is the side that's inside the transmission. You go up underneath the car, and you get your crowbar like that, and you just bang, 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 and it'll come right out. So I don't have a slide hammer, so that's what we're gonna do. Oh, I hate this part. Oh, I freaking hate this part. And out it goes. That was easy. I don't know why I stressed myself out over it. Hey, by the way, transmission fluid's gonna come out, so be careful. It's already dripping. We're just gonna tap it the rest of the way out. The axle's gonna fall right out. There it goes. Look, transmission fluid. I probably should have put a catch can right there. Crap. Well, it's never too late. Here's that crappy aftermarket axle. Let's go over this axle real quick. This is the side that goes into the transmission. This is the side that goes into your hub. As you can tell, the threaded part for the nut. So it should be able to go back and forth like that. This side shouldn't do anything. If you hold the center like this and you wiggle it, there should be no play. Same thing with this side. But we got some play. So that means this CV joint is the one that's bad. This is also a CV joint. Another, like right off the bat, being able to tell if they're bad or not is if these boots are ripped, dry rotted, worn, or leaking. You don't want a leaky boot because then you get your feet wet. In this case, it's grease. Grease will come out, and over time that'll let dirt in, which will wear down the bearings in your CV axle, the joints and all that, and cause them to go bad really, really quick. So I'm gonna go get my OEM one that I pulled out of it before. I'm gonna put that one back in. Here's our OEM. Trans side, hub side. Notice how we got no play. The top, that's not play, that's just it moving in my hand right here because I got a wussy grip. But there's no play in this. It slides up and down, but it's a lot stiffer. And then on this side, it's got no play. Again, that's just it rocking in my hands because sliding in my hands. Goes like that. It's got a little bit of movement, but it's nothing to worry about. We got no rips, tears, or leaks in our boots. It's a good axle. So we're gonna go ahead and stick her back in the car. Another note, if you got some axle grease, grease these up because these get hot because they're under pressure. So put some grease on them so that way that they don't wear out, they don't get too hot. It helps a little bit with heat. This side, don't put any grease on this side. I'm pretty sure this is lubed up by transmission fluid anyways. Just make sure it's clear of debris. I'm gonna stick her in that hole deep in there. When you stick it in there, make sure that it clicks. When it goes in, it's gonna make a nice crisp click sound. That means that this ring, by the way, that means that this ring right here, this yellow ring, has seated. That's what makes it hard to come out in the first place. It's kind of like a locking ring. Made a nice click. Make sure it doesn't come out. Give it a couple tugs. Yeah, it's seated in there good. Awesome. Kind of give her a little, try and spin her a little bit. Did you hear the nice crisp clunking of the transmission moving a little bit while it's in park? I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this right here. Give me 1 second. All right, let's slide her on back into the hub. And then this is the hard part, is getting your lower ball joint back into your hub. While you're down here, go ahead and check that lower ball joint. Give it a couple tugs. You should be able to move it like this and it not, you know, move back. See there? That's a good ball joint. Check your boot and all that, make sure it's not cracked or leaking. If you got one of those little nipples on the bottom, fill it back up with grease. Not too much, just a little bit. If you got a buddy, have him like stand on the pry bar, because one of y'all is going to need to maneuver the hub while the other one pushes down the lower control arm. I think we'll get some help. There we go. All right, let it up. Perfect. There we go, we got a lower ball joint back in. Now it's time to put the crowd nut back on. Since I'm too lazy, I'm gonna use my old pin. Stick it back in there. So we got the pin back in. Next, you wanna make sure that this right here is pushed out, because it might be still up inside the hub. So you just grab it from this end and you just pull it, and it should pop right out of the hub. It's pretty good about slipping into its grooves there. Now, we officially got our axle in. Let's put it back together. So we're gonna put it at 130. I think that's what I put it on last time, was 130 to 134. So I'm gonna go get my torque wrench. We're gonna torque it. There we go, 130. All right, let's put our rotor back on. In our mounting bracket. Caliper time. Let's put the tire back on. And we're done. One last thing. Do not forget to top off your transmission fluid. Well, we replaced our axle. You made it this far, good job, guys. I want to thank you very much to North Carolina 3800 Motorsports for inviting me to come and hang out with you guys. I'm really excited to meet some of y'all, going to the drag strip, having some fun, tearing it up. So looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. Please like, subscribe, share. If you know somebody that needs some help doing an axle and you know how to do it, go help them. Teach them how to do it. If not, send them my way to this video, and hopefully I can be of some service. So until next time, drive safe.